My dad forgot to hang up and I heard him call me a burden and a disappointment. I stayed silent, sold my $870,000 property, transferred the titles, and disappeared. They came back from vacation to an empty house and a note on the door: "Surprise, this is what a burden can do." So, the whole thing kicked off because my dad forgot to hang up the phone. I wasn't supposed to catch any of it. I'd called him about some boring car title paperwork, nothing big, just another thing I took care of for him like always. He said he'd check a folder in the garage and just plopped the phone down on the coffee table, forgetting to hang up. Total oversight, probably didn't even notice. At first, I heard nothing but silence, then footsteps, a couch squeaked, and then his voice. He was saying stuff like she's a burden and she's a disappointment, cold and clear like it was just a fact of life. "Should have never been born," he said. I just sat there, frozen, phone glued to my ear like a kid eavesdropping at a door. What hurt was that he wasn't mad or yelling, just casually talking to my mom, or maybe himself, didn't matter. Those words stung all the same. A burden, a mistake. For 6 years, I had been silently covering their financial gaps, mortgage shortfalls, credit card debts, utility bills they never mentioned. I did it without ever throwing it back in their faces. That very month, I'd sent $2,100 to cover their insurance because my dad couldn't work due to a back injury. Yet, here I was, the so-called burden, an unwanted accident. I just let the call run long after they probably realized it was still connected. I heard the microwave beep, some laughter in the background like everything was just peachy. When the call finally ended, whether he hung up or the battery just died, I didn't cry or talk or even move. Just sat there staring out the window, hoping it might offer some answer. Time kinda stopped for me. Next day, I went to the bank, not for revenge yet, just to get a grip on things. The mortgage on my fancy place was almost paid off, worth around $870,000 after the last appraisal. I had choices, a kind of quiet power nobody knew about. So, I booked a meeting with my real estate lawyer to talk about selling options and keeping things on the down low. When the lawyer told me what I'd make from a private cash sale, I was all business, no feelings. Every step felt like I was piecing together some machine I didn't fully get yet. But I knew I had to finish it. Told no one, not friends, co-workers, definitely not my family. I kept up appearances, went to work, smiled at neighbors, even wished my parents a great trip when they jetted off to Europe, a trip I chipped in for since they were tight after refinancing their house last fall. Then I quietly packed everything I owned, sold the house, changed all the forwarding addresses, and vanished. Let them enjoy their wine in Lisbon and selfies in front of the Eiffel Tower, totally oblivious. Until they came home and their key didn't fit, finding a sticky note on the door: "Surprise." That's what a burden can do. I didn't always think of myself as useful. That realization came later. I started as the reliable one, the planner, the fixer, the daughter who noticed everything, never missed a bill or birthday, made her own way, earned well, and asked for zip. At first, I thought just being that was enough. They never asked for much outright. It began with things like "Your dad's back is acting up again, can you cover the water bill?" Or "Your brother's tuition deadline snuck up on us, we'll repay you." Of course, they never did and eventually stopped pretending. When they needed $1,800 for new storm windows, I sent it. When their car broke down and I got a frantic call from the roadside, I took care of the repairs. When their property taxes went overdue and my mom cried on the phone, I wired the money that day, no questions, no complaints. Then came the joint accounts, a family card for emergencies only, my name on their mortgage for refinancing. I noticed my credit score dipping slowly, like a bruise spreading. I asked them once about a weird charge from a fancy furniture store. Dad chuckled, "We thought you wouldn't mind. You never spend on yourself anyway." Mom chimed in, "It's for the house, yours too. Technically." When my uncle needed surgery, I paid half the hospital bill without being asked. They just sent the invoice, knowing I'd handle it. When my sister's wedding needed a venue deposit, they called it a family gift from you. That was just an early morning charge on my bank app, $6,700. I swallowed it, telling myself they'd do the same for me, right? But nope. So, I moved twice in 3 years, and not once did any of my family lift a finger to help with a single box. When I was down with bronchitis and asked my mom for some soup, she was too exhausted from her yoga class to bring any over. Then on my birthday, they just sent a text with a sparkly cupcake image and a quick "hope it's a good one," no calls, no visits. But when their birthdays came around, I was expected to show up with all the bells and whistles, flowers, gifts, dinner reservations. One time I forgot, and my mom gave me the silent treatment for 3 whole weeks. I kept telling myself that maybe this was just how they showed love, that I wasn't doing enough. So I tried even harder, made sure everything was covered financially. I did the math, $2,100 every month for 6 years. That's $151,200. But I never really thought about it in that way until the call. That's when it hit me, I wasn't just overlooked. They thought of me as a burden, something that made their lives harder. I could hear the clinking of Dad's coffee cup, the rustling of the newspaper, and my mom agreeing that they should have sent me away at 18. They were planning a Europe trip while I was in a rental I paid for outright, to keep things under wraps as I transferred the property deed. I saved every email, every bank transfer, and then I bought my dream home. It was empty now. I'd given away all the furniture, shut down accounts, removed my name from everything shared, cutting every tie, but I hadn't told them yet. I wanted them to feel the shift. That moment came quicker than I thought. A week later, I got a text from my sister asking if I was still covering Mom's therapy. No hello, no how are you? Just assumed I'd keep on giving. I said sure and then canceled the payment for good. That weekend, they posted pics from Paris. Dad grinning under the Eiffel Tower, Mom in a beret with a wine glass, caption still living the dream. And there was the ring I'd bought for their 35th anniversary. No, thank you ever. They wore it like it was theirs forever. I logged out and never checked again. The final transfer was done. The new owners had the keys. I left nothing, no photos, no cutlery, not even a hanger. Just a sticky note on the door and the reality that I wasn't their bank, fixer, or even family anymore. I was the storm they didn't see coming. They got back from Europe on a Thursday. I tracked their return like tracking a storm, not fearfully, just with calm precision. Their last Instagram post was a boomerang of clinking wine glasses under fancy chandeliers, caption family first. Always. I didn't even flinch. The house was gone before they'd even landed. But they didn't know it yet. They landed, all smiles and sunburnt, thinking everything was business as usual. When they got home, they expected to find everything in place. But the driveway was empty, no car, no lights, and their keys didn't fit. I imagine the confusion, Dad frowning, Mom trying her key, both standing in silence until they spotted the yellow sticky note on the door. Black Sharpie letters, surprise. This is what a burden can do. No need to leave my name. The mailbox was gone, alarm off, utilities switched, portraits removed, monogram towels donated, their home is where the heart is signed trashed. Everything was cleared out like they never lived there, like their comfort vanished while they played royalty in Europe. This wasn't about punishing them, it was just about clarity. I wasn't seeking revenge, just closing a chapter that ended ages ago. They called, a lot. At first, they were confused, asking if the alarm needed checking, if the garage code changed. Then panic set in, where's the furniture? Why isn't the Wi-Fi working? Why's your number off? I didn't pick up. By midnight, they'd called every sibling and cousin, thinking it was all a mistake or a joke. But then Mom left me a voicemail on my work phone, sounding as fragile as I'd ever heard her. Real emergencies. Please just tell us what's going on. We're at a hotel. The house is empty. The neighbor said a moving truck came last week. Was that you? Did something happen? Yes. Something happened. I heard you. I kept that voicemail. I listen to it sometimes. Not out of joy. There's no pleasure in this, but as a reminder that even after calling me a burden, even after draining my bank account and erasing me from every family moment that mattered, they still expected help. That's what cracked me into. That's what made everything snap. The moment I realized they would never change, that no matter how much I gave, how many bills I paid, how many birthdays I remembered, I would always be optional, useful, expendable. They cried the loudest when the money disappeared. Not when I did. I gave them 6 years of quiet loyalty. They gave me silence and expectation. A burden, a disappointment, an accident that survived. So I left them exactly what they earned, nothing. The fallout started the next morning. By 7:13 a.m. I had 42 missed calls. My mom left 3 voicemails in a row, each one more desperate than the last. The first was confusion, the second panic, the third full-blown breakdown. We just need to talk. Please just tell us what you did. I didn't reply. Instead, I logged into the final banking portal, the one they forgot I had access to, the joint savings account I had once created just in case of emergency. It still had $12,000 in it, mostly from me. I clicked once, transferred it to a private trust, closed the account, gone. Then I went after the insurance. The house they used to live in, I still had the policy in my name. They'd never changed it over, so I canceled it, notified the company that the property had been sold. Watched the confirmation email hit my inbox with a small detached sense of completion. One more tie cut, one less lie holding us together. That afternoon my dad emailed me. A long pathetic thing, no subject line, just 600 words of half blame, half begging. He said he didn't mean what I heard, that I misunderstood. That burden was about the situation, not about me. Then he asked if I could at least help them find a lawyer to look into what happened with the house. Said the new owners had changed the locks illegally. I almost laughed. Illegally. They had no idea the property hadn't been in their names for over a year. I transferred the title to a shell trust I'd built with my accountant, the same trust that now owned the LLC that sold the house in cash. It was layered, secure, untouchable. They weren't just locked out of a house. I finally stepped away from the dynamic. By day 3 my sister chimed in. The same one who used to send me screenshots of her Venmo request with "You got it right." Like it was a joke. She texted, "You really going to do this to mom and dad? After everything they've done?" I read it twice. Everything they've done. That line stayed in my head like static, like white noise that wouldn't shut off. She meant the dinners I wasn't invited to. The holidays I paid for but watched from my couch. The therapy I covered so my mother could work through stress caused by my existence. She meant all of it. All the erasure, all the exploitation wrapped up in one casual guilt trip. I didn't respond. Instead, I filed the final motion. The estate planning documents I'd drawn up 2 months ago, the ones that removed my family from every emergency contact, medical directive, and asset designation. I submitted them that Friday. By Monday they were legally locked out of everything. No more accounts in their name. No more fallback plan. They didn't lose a house. They lost their favorite crutch. And maybe I enabled that for too long, thinking I was helping when I was really just delaying the inevitable. I called the storage unit too. The one I'd been quietly paying for, full of their keepsakes and heirlooms and boxes they swore they'd come pick up soon. I gave them 30 days notice. No extension, no warning. A legal eviction letter was delivered on Tuesday. They messaged the unit company in a panic, said it was a mistake. It wasn't. I sold every piece of furniture I bought for them. The couch, the antique sideboard, even the coffee machine they used to joke was too fancy for them. The one they insisted on taking anyway. I posted it all online, watched the listings disappear one by one. Every item gone within 2 days. And when the PayPal balance cleared, I made one last transfer to myself. No note, no message, just peace. The group chat finally went silent. No more passive-aggressive memes. No more attempts at manipulation disguised as jokes. Just silence. My mother's last post was an old photo of us when I was 8, with a caption that ended, "You always were so sensitive." It didn't sting. It confirmed everything because I wasn't sensitive. I was done. They never got the sticky note back. They tried, of course. Drove back 3 days later, this time with a locksmith, but bye. "Hey, I'm at a hotel, and I just need you to fill me in on what's happening since the house is empty and the neighbors said a moving truck was there last week. Was it you? Did something go down?" "Yeah, something went down. I heard the voicemail you left, and I keep it around sometimes, not because it makes me happy or anything, but as a reminder of how things went down. Even though they called me a hassle, drained my bank account, and pretended I didn't exist at important family moments, they still wanted my help. That was the breaking point for me. I realized they'd never change, no matter how much I'd pitched in, how many bills I paid, or birthdays I didn't forget. I was always just an option, a utility, expendable. They screamed the loudest not when I disappeared, but when the money did. I gave them 6 silent years of loyalty while they gave me nothing but the expectation to be their fallback plan, a burden, a disappointment, an unwanted guest. So I left them with what they truly deserved, nothing. The fallout hit the next morning with 42 missed calls. By 7:13 a.m. my mom left 3 desperate voicemails, each sounding worse than the last. Confusion, then panic, then a full-blown meltdown. "We just need to talk. Please tell us what you did." I didn't bother replying. Instead, I logged into the bank account they forgot I had access to. The joint savings account, mostly my money, still had $12,000. I transferred it, shut it down, and it was gone. Then, I went after their insurance. They'd never bothered to take the house policy out of my name, so I canceled it, told the company the property was sold. Watched as the confirmation email dinged in, and felt a little sense of closure. Another tie cut, another lie gone. Then my dad shot me an email, long and pathetic, half blaming, half pleading. He claimed I misunderstood the burden comment. It was about their situation, not me. Then, he had the nerve to ask for lawyer help to deal with what happened to the house. He thought the new owners changed the locks illegally. I nearly laughed. They had no clue that the property hadn't been in their names for over a year. I'd put it into a shell trust with my accountant, the same one that owned the LLC that sold the house for cash, completely secure and untouchable. They weren't just locked out of a house, I was untangling myself from their drama. By day 3, my sister piped up. Yeah, the same one who used to joke about paying her Venmo requests. She texted, "You're really gonna do this to mom and dad after everything they've done?" I couldn't help but repeat that last part in my head, everything they've done. Like the meals I was never invited to, holidays I paid for but spent alone on my couch. The therapy I paid so mom could deal with her stress from me just existing. She meant all the erasing, the using, wrapped up in a guilt trip. I didn't reply. Instead, I filed the last legal motions I had prepped 2 months earlier, kicking my family off as emergency contacts, cutting them out from everything. By Monday, they couldn't touch anything, no accounts, no parachute. They didn't lose a house, they lost their safety net. And maybe, I'd let it go on too long, thinking I was helping when I was actually avoiding the inevitable. Then, I called the storage unit I'd been secretly paying for, packed with their stuff. I gave notice, 30 days to get their things, no wiggle room. Legal eviction letter went out on Tuesday. They freaked out, called it a mistake, but it wasn't. I sold off all the furniture I bought them, the couch, the antique sideboard, even the 2 fancy coffee machine. Listed it online and watched every piece get snapped up. When the PayPal money settled, I transferred it to myself, no message, just peace. Group chat went quiet, no more passive-aggressive memes, no jokes hiding manipulation. Just silence. And my mom's last post? An old photo of us when I was 8, with a jab about me always being so sensitive. But it didn't sting. It just confirmed everything, because I wasn't sensitive. I was just done. They never got that sticky note back, even when they tried again days later, this time bringing a locksmith. But by then. So, it went down like this: they updated the locks, took away the mailbox, and locked all the house's legal stuff so tightly in paperwork that even if they wanted to sort it out, they couldn't. The locksmith wouldn't let them in either, he said the title was in someone else's name. So they left, quiet as ever. And yeah, I saw it all happen. Not from some far-off place or on a screen. I was just 2 blocks away, sitting in a car they wouldn't recognize, engine off, parked under a tree that was barely hanging on. I watched my folks climb out of an Uber like they were royalty coming back to a palace that didn't want them. My dad looked older, smaller. Mom just stood silently on the porch, staring at the door as if it might open out of guilt. Spoiler, it didn't. They were gone in 10 minutes. The house stayed quiet, and so did I. That quiet, it was the real end. No big showdown, no driveway argument, no shouting about family or forgiveness. Just realizing they lost access to the one person who managed to keep them going. They didn't cry out of missing me. They cried because the cash was history, the safety net was shredded. And to be fair, that net was legit, it was made of my care. But care without respect? Yeah, that crumbles fast. They cried because their plan B vanished, and I was the only one who ever had a plan. And trust me, I made sure they felt all that I took away. I deleted every family group chat, stepped out of every thread, every photo album, and every Google Calendar they ever used to plan holidays I was never asked to. Didn't leave a message, just silence. A few days later, I got a letter, not even handwritten, just a paralegal note hinting at misunderstandings and estate stuff. Didn't even bother opening it, just shredded it and got back to my tea. A couple of days after that, my old neighbor texted me, "Your folks dropped by again," looking all confused, just standing there in the driveway, as if this wasn't something they'd brought on themselves for years. I blocked that number. They stopped trying to call by the second week. I guess it finally hit them, not just losing the house but losing me completely. Even my sister texted from some new number, "So, are you really never talking to us?" No hello, no sorry, just shocked that I could live without them. Didn't reply. Just went out for a walk. The evening air was cool, still carrying that fresh rain smell. I walked past all the places I used to run errands for them, the pharmacy for mom's meds, the bakery for cakes no one ever thanked me for. Now, they were just buildings, no strings attached. I took a deep breath, it felt like my first in years. People don't get it about being the quiet one, the helper. They think you'll keep doing it forever, that silence means you're okay with everything, that not complaining is the same as agreeing. But silence isn't always peace. Sometimes, it's a plan. Now, they live in a condo on the edge of town. I saw it listed when I was searching for apartments a year ago. Cheap floors, peeling paint, street-facing windows with zero light. I wonder if they look out and think about what happened. I wonder if they remember that night with the sticky note, surprise. This is what a burden can do. They don't post much anymore. Mom used to fill her feed with photos of brunches, spa days, family first captions. Now it's just quiet quotes being shared around. One said, "Don't burn bridges," but they wouldn't know the bridge was never theirs. They were just standing on it while I built the road. Once I stepped away, the whole thing crumbled. My bank account is quiet now. No withdrawals I didn't authorize, no auto pay bills I never benefited from, no Venmo requests from people only saying hi when rent was due. The cash I used to send, like blood from a weak heart, it's still there now, actually growing because it's just for me. I moved to a new place, not bigger, not louder, but it's mine. Every lamp, every curtain, every chair picked by me, for me. No guilt woven into these walls, no reminders of unappreciated giving. Just quiet, just space, just ownership. I sleep better, deeper. No dreams waking me up with thoughts like, did I forget to transfer that money? Or will she be mad if I say no? Those voices are gone, and the space they left behind feels amazing. Sometimes, I still remember the call, the one where he forgot to hang up. She's a burden, a disappointment, should have never been born. But now I let those words echo. I don't fight them or explain them away. I don't defend myself to ghosts. I just listen, then remember that house was mine and that silence, all mine. That final note. And then I just go back to living. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real life stories happening around you.